So hi guys, thanks for joining us here. My name is Stephen. I recruit here in MCS Group in the part qualified space in accountancy. And I frequently come across and work with candidates who struggle with the demands for studying, for their professional exams. And recently, actually, after hearing a couple of glowing testimonials for candidates which I've previously worked with about James Perry exam coaching and the benefit which they received from that, I thought it'd be quite a good idea to kind of bring you in here and kind of tell the guys a bit about your kind of services and your experience and how I can hopefully benefit them kind of going forward.
No, it's good to be with you. Good to be with you.
So thanks again, actually, James, for making giving us the opportunity to come in to meet with ourselves here. So if you can just kind of give us a brief overview of your career to date.
Career to date, Stephen, it's been very much the stereotypical accountancy route. Done A-level accountancy, degree in accountancy, masters in accountancy, joined Grant Thornton in 2003, qualified with them in 2006, and then I was with them until 2012 as senior audit manager. So I was in practice for a bit of a stretch, then decided to sort of spread my wings and go into industry. So I went and became financial controller of WKD, and I always have to qualify that, it's the drink. So that was a massive change because of first role in the industry, we going to $500 million turnover business, which was a bit of a crazy step. Then I decided to take a bit of a stand back, and I went into the government for 4 years. And essentially where the coaching came from, it was a hobby, and it's now morphed into something more. So I'm on a career break now to develop the exam coaching aspect, which has been very, very interesting to date.
Very good. And what are the kind of the services which you provide the students?
So it's primarily accounting students that I deal with, and that could be with any institute whatsoever. There'll be accounting technician, all the way Chartered Accountants Ireland, CIMA, ACCA, covers all, even Chartered Tax Advisor I would cover. Services, well, services generally is talking a lot about mindset, a lot about motivation, why they're doing what they're doing, and then going into the meat of actually how do you deal with learning, study, and then exam techniques. And then what I would do is I would challenge my students to then to put into practice those techniques, and talking about 3 past papers, and I mark that as well. Big service that I provide that people find really, really useful is the fact I hold them accountable, that I actually get them to do the work, and if they promise they're going to do it, that they'll deliver on that with me, because it's essentially, what I see with a lot of students is that they're training for a marathon, training for 26 miles, and they only train for 12 of them. So by going the full hog with me, it sort of gets them into more conditioned into how to deal with that.
Very good. And would you only work with kind of students based here in Northern Ireland, James, or?
No, very much global. So over the last 2 years, and this has been a hobby, morphing into something else, but I've coached over 80 students around the world. It'll be Jamaica, Cyprus, Zimbabwe, globally, New Zealand. It's turned into a global business, which is a bit surreal, but certainly from Ireland, north or south, and GB is I'm open to anyone at all who needs help.
And how have you achieved that global reach?
Very much social media. To be perfectly honest, social media was not my thing up to 3 years ago. LinkedIn has worked massively for me. I only joined Facebook 2 years ago, and that was really primarily to target uni students, which works, but LinkedIn's a massive thing for me. I was really just taking action, going, doing, and getting my name out there, which has worked massively for me. So it's been quite a journey. Well, I wouldn't say that.
And can you kind of just talk us through the kind of process on the first initial appointment with your students?
For first initial appointment, it's probably about a 10-minute chat to scope out what their issues are and how I can help, and does my services actually apply to them. And generally, if we go ahead and we move forward with the coaching, the first session initially is what I call the mindset motivation session. It's actually getting to the crux of why are you doing it. Accountancy, as we all know, is a very tough discipline. So understanding why you're doing it and getting that framed up front is normally the first session, and then we talk about other things in terms of long-term goals, and then in terms of exam stress and things like that. So get that stuff nailed right up front. So it's the initial couple of sessions.
And is there a kind of specific kind of length of period which you usually mentor these students? Or
well, generally I'm very bespoke, so it's whatever the client wants. But in general, what's providing popular is I've got a 6-session accounting success program, and that can run any time from 3 months out before an exam to probably 6 weeks out before the exam. That's the start dates, and then I can sort of go up to probably ideally 2 or 3 days before the exam date. And that course is proving actually very, very successful. We deal with lots of stuff, and again, the accountability over that period of time where you're going to study has provided to be very, very successful.
Good. And what's usually the surrounding factors why your clients would approach you?
A lot of it, Stephen, is actually about stress. Hugely it's about mindset. And a lot of students will come with the belief to say, I can't pass these exams. But the reality is you can. And if you adopt that proper mindset right up front and tell yourself you're going to do it, that's half the battle. Because accounting exams is very much psychological warfare. And you can learn the content, you can go to a learning provider to do that. But where I come in is that coaching, is that prompting, is that sort of putting that structure in place, that plan in place. So certainly it's mindset, and then closely followed by getting a study plan and a structure in place. That's the big things.
Good, okay. And I think we're seeing a lot more kind of opportunities for accountancy bodies where they are kind of opening up slightly flexible routes kind of into accountancy.
Yeah.
Are you seeing kind of students go towards that kind of avenue, or would this still be quite almost traditional to get qualified in the earliest opportunity?
Not necessarily. Because there are obviously more pools in life at the minute, you know, and you do see some students, maybe if it's Chartered Accountants Ireland, or Chartered Accountants wherever around the world, they maybe defer some of their exams into 2 sittings. ACCA or CIMA, you've got the modular element, so no, it's not the traditional mode anymore of doing it. Life gets in the way, and sometimes you have to try and plan that out a bit more. But it's good to see the institutes actually pushing the more flexible route. Definitely.
Of course. And then obviously yourself, you got chartered a while back. Have you noticed change in the kind of the demand from when did you?
I qualified in 2006, and believe it or not, this very day 15 years ago I started my finals.
Oh really?
So today is the start of finals for Chartered Accountants Ireland. So this day 15 years ago I was dreading things.
Of course.
So yeah, no, I qualified in 2006. Has the demands changed? Yes, in a way. I think the demands of the profession, for example, if you're in audit, things are more rigorous in terms of your workload. If you're in other areas, it's very much similar. So, and the stresses and strains of work is making it a lot more difficult to try and fit study in around your time. So where I come in is to try and get you to be more bang for your buck, be ultra efficient in terms of fitting your study, not even just into work, but into life. Because the demands in general for people now,
of course,
compared to 15 years ago, is much more, it's much larger. So yeah, getting planning correct, getting your planning correct, and I say not just a study plan, but a life plan, and try and get that in place for in readiness for your studies, and it does help.
So as well as the likes of the kind of the practical coaching which you do, you know, from first initial kind of exam for until the FAEs.
Yeah.
It's more like a kind of life planning too.
Oh, completely. My coaching is much more than just exams. Just through my experience over the last number of years in terms of life, I do think, for example, we'll talk about travel, we'll talk about books, we'll talk about what film you're going to watch at the weekend. I think it's equally as important as actually sitting down and studying. The way that your life, you're going to plan out your life for this 3-month period, 6-month period, 3-year period if you're talking about a training contract. In my opinion, it's holistic. It's everything. So the coaching will be more than just talking about accountancy. It'll be about life. One of the craziest ideas that I offer my students right up front is to start meditation. And I think that's a life skill that I'll tell many people to do. I didn't start it until 3 years ago. It's transformed my life.
Right, okay.
So we'll go into even that sort of thing.
Right, okay.
It's more than just exam coaching.
And how did James Perry de-stress whenever he was studying for his exams?
Whenever I study for my exams, big time into the gym. I'm big into my sport, football. Travel has always been a thing for me too. So even in the midst of studying, I still got a weekend away somewhere. And having that downtime for you is equally as important as study. People think you have to study 24/7. You actually don't. And that de-stressor, even something simple, Stephen, is going for a walk in the evening, and having that, would it be a meditation music or would it be something that chills you right out, is very, very important. So a number of ways of how to de-stress, and I've probably dealt with them all over the years. So again, it's something I tell my students about. It's equally as important as studying, is the de-stress.
Good.
You become much more productive because of it.
And in regards, I suppose, I know that obviously you've got a global reach of clients.
Yeah.
You know, do you offer kind of face-to-face webinar kind of interaction?
And generally it's through Skype or through Zoom.
Okay.
I do one-to-one or group sessions, and I also do classroom-based sessions and webinars for certain financial institutions if they want it. I've been working with a couple of the larger accountancy practices in Belfast, and I'm actually going to do a bit of work with the largest independent accounting college in Ireland in September, early October, and that's really talking about studying exam techniques as well. So yeah, I can, again, it's very much customer and client driven. Whichever mode you want of communication with me, I can certainly do that. But generally it's online.
And then I suppose kind of, I think you touched upon it there now, but what does the future hold there for James Perry Exam Coaching?
I'm actually going through a rebranding process. Okay. So James Perry Exam Coaching is splitting into two. There's one brand's going to be called as Accounting Exam Coach, something along those lines, and that will be and I'm going to be developing an online course that people can download, along with ebooks, etc. And then myself, James Perry, developing into a brand that will be more along commercial lines and business coaching and networking, and my YouTube channel, so I'm interviewing entrepreneurs and things like that as well. So very exciting times in terms of, and I say this to my coaching students, you actually never know what's around the corner. See, the minute you qualify, it opens up so many doors. I never thought I'd be sort of interviewing people around the world. And it came from the credibility that the accounting qualification has given me. So exciting, rebranding, it's going to be good.
And do you think you'll ever go back to actually being accountants, practicing?
Never say never, but at the minute, couldn't see it. I'm having too much fun doing all the other stuff. The flexibility that life has given me now, coming in and doing this at, on a Tuesday morning, I couldn't have done that when I was in practice.
Of course.
So never say never, but at the minute, having these sort of my own businesses is incredibly exciting. Equally scary, but very exciting.
Good. Okay. Well, listen, guys, hopefully that's been useful for you, beneficial. There will be a link here at the bottom just for James's LinkedIn if you want to connect with him, sure, and feel free to reach out. If you are kind of struggling with the kind of work-life balance and demands that you usually get with studying for an accountancy qualification. James, listen, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Really enjoyed it. Cheers, man. Thank you.